if you're hearing this, I need you to listen closely. These aren't old stories. These aren't rumors or things I read online. These are the 3 experiences that changed the way I look at people, at houses, and at the shadows in my own home. And if you stay until the end, you'll understand why I haven't slept through the night in almost a year. Let's begin. Lena and I had finally moved into our first home together, a little 2-story place on a quiet street. It felt perfect. It felt safe, except for the house next door, half renovated, dust-covered tools piled outside, a missing fence between our yard and theirs, just open space leading into a dark, abandoned property. We figured the owner would finish the project someday. He never did. Behind that half-finished house lived another group, 4 or 5 men in their 20s drifting in and out like stray dogs. We'd see them cutting through the empty yard, using it like their personal shortcut. We didn't want to assume the worst, so we didn't. The first night changed that. Lena and I were sitting in our backyard, talking under the porch light, when she whispered, "Rachel, don't turn around, but someone's watching us." Of course I turned around, slowly. High up in the 2nd floor window of the house behind us, a man stood in the dark. No movement, no blinking, just staring directly at us. We tried to laugh it off. Curiosity, we said. New neighbors, we said. But 30 minutes later he was still there, still staring. We went inside. The next few days were quiet until the Bird brothers came into our yard without knocking, without calling out, without any reason to be there. 3 men, standing just inside the tree line, watching us. The youngest, maybe 28, held a large black bag and said, "You two need anything? Got extras?" Inside the bag were stolen cleaning supplies, random household junk, like they were offering tribute. I made a joke. He didn't smile. He just nodded and left. That was the beginning. From then on, they walked through our yard constantly, staring into our windows, lingering at the back door, never speaking unless spoken to. We were 2 20-year-old women, and they wanted us to know they weren't afraid of us. One afternoon, 2 police officers slipped into the abandoned yard. They lifted the broken fence panel, checked around, then left without ringing our doorbell. Strange. But things were about to get much worse. A few days later, the police returned, this time to our door. The men behind us had been evicted for ongoing harassment, not just toward us, but toward half the neighborhood. We were relieved, but relief lasted exactly 4 days. I was taking a bath when I heard Lena shouting my name. I ran dripping into the spare bedroom. She stood at the window, filming something with trembling hands. A man, someone we'd never seen before, was in the abandoned yard. He pointed directly at our bedroom window. When Lena noticed him, he sprinted toward our house. Not ran, sprinted. He grabbed our back door handle and yanked it violently before disappearing into the empty yard. Then he started slamming his fists into the windows of the abandoned house, one after another, like he was searching for a way inside. We called the police. They watched the video, took a statement, left. But that wasn't what terrified us. What terrified us was what came next. For the next 2 weeks, 2 a.m., whistling under our window, tapping on the glass, Footsteps circling the house. Low voices in the yard. We installed cameras. And then our Ring doorbell disappeared. We found it laying face down in the yard. The SD card was gone. The officer on the phone said something I'll never forget. If someone removes your cameras, they're planning something. 3 weeks later, at 2:52 a.m., our motion alerts went off. 2 masked men on the side of our house. One flashlight, the other a crowbar. They looked through every window, every door. Not burglars, not kids, hunters. We moved in with my mom for a while, but even then, even there, we'd see him, blue hoodie, standing across the street for hours, arms spread wide like a crucifix, staring up at our bedroom window. The police told us it's not illegal to stare at someone's house. That was the moment I realized some people don't need to break in to destroy your life. All they need is time and patience and obsession. But my next story, that one wasn't about obsession. It was about identity. About strangers who somehow knew things they shouldn't have known. After everything with Blue Hoodie, I moved closer to work to feel safer. New apartment, new start. I also left someone behind. My ex, Aaron. Controlling, invasive. Not violent, but the kind who tracked your phone battery, timed your replies, memorized your patterns. After I left him, I changed everything. Number, apartment, routines. I should have been untraceable. But then the barista at a tiny coffee shop smiled at me and said, "Good morning, sunshine." Aaron used to call me that, mockingly, always when I was upset. I froze, but brushed it off, until 3 days later. My rideshare driver looked at me in the mirror and said, "You ever figure out what you're running from?" Word for word, exactly what Aaron asked during our breakup. Coincidence? Maybe 1, not 2, but soon it became 5, 10, dozens. A woman at the grocery store whispered, "You don't just disappear." A coworker hummed the exact tune Aaron played during our arguments. A stranger on the street said, "Still wearing your hair like that?" Different faces, different voices, but the same expressions. The same eyes, like they all learned from the same script. I panicked, contacted Aaron's sister, told her to tell him to stop messing with me. She said he couldn't. He was in rehab, locked down, no phone. She sent a photo, pale, exhausted, holding a 1-day sober coin. So if it wasn't him, who was it? I booked a hotel for the weekend. I needed noise, crowds, witnesses. But at 2 a.m., there were 3 slow knocks on my door. I looked through the peephole. A woman stood there, blank expression, hands at her sides, staring directly at the door. She didn't move, didn't blink. Front desk told me no one should have been on that floor. Every room around me was empty. I moved again the next week. New city, new everything. But last Thursday, walking home from the bookstore, a woman brushed past me and whispered, "Still hiding behind books, sunshine." I don't think they're following me. I think they're everywhere now. And I don't think it'll ever stop. My family rarely travels, so our weekend trip to Lake Michigan felt like a warm break from reality. We rented a huge beach house with a separate garage apartment behind it.
18 of us went.
The garage was assigned to me and my 3 cousins.
The place smelled like mold and old carpet.
Beds felt wrong, like someone else had slept in them recently.
We tried to laugh it off,
but as midnight approached, I kept getting that feeling, the one I get right before something bad happens. At 3 a.m., just as I finally began to drift off, a violent bang shook the garage door. I sat upright instantly. My cousins slept. Another bang, harder. The whole building trembled, a third. My cousins bolted awake. We texted Aunt Laura. Within minutes, Uncle Tom was outside checking the yard. What he found made my blood run cold. A man was standing behind the garage, not hiding, not running, just waiting. When Uncle Tom yelled, "Hey!" the man slowly turned his head and smiled. Then he walked backwards into the trees, without a single leaf crunching under his feet.
Inside the garage we found a playing card on the floor.
A jester, but twisted, demonic.
Another card appeared inside the main house. The next night, footsteps on the porch woke my mom.
Someone tried the basement door, the one with the weak lock, where the men in our family were sleeping.
By the time she got downstairs, no one was there. No footprints, no sound. We left the next morning.
None of us have gone on a family trip since.
And I still don't know what that thing behind the garage was.
A person? Something else? I only know this. I can still hear the sound the door made when he hit it. And sometimes, in the middle of the night,
I swear I hear it again.
I wish I could tell you these stories ended cleanly. That the men disappeared, the mirrors stopped speaking, and the jester stayed behind in Michigan. But that would be a lie, because ever since these things happened,
I've learned something terrifying. If someone decides to watch you, you don't always get to decide when they stop.
So, if you're listening to this at night,
do me a favor, check your window.
Just to be sure.